One of the most quietly devastating experiences a person can carry is the feeling of being unwanted. It rarely announces itself. It doesn't arrive with a dramatic moment or a clear cause. Instead, it settles in through small, persistent thoughts. Maybe I'm bothering them. Maybe they wouldn't notice if I wasn't here. Maybe they're only tolerating me. People who live with this feeling rarely show it. From the outside, they appear perfectly fine, laughing, engaging, moving through their days like everyone else. But underneath that surface, a single question echoes on repeat. Do I actually matter to anyone? Where it begins. Psychology tells us this feeling rarely comes from nowhere. It typically takes root in early experiences, moments of rejection, emotional neglect, or environments where affection felt conditional or scarce. Maybe someone was consistently overlooked, made to feel like too much or never quite enough. Maybe the signs were subtle. A parent who was physically present but emotionally absent. A friendship group that never quite let them in. These experiences don't have to be dramatic to leave a mark. Small, repeated moments of feeling invisible can quietly reshape the way a person sees themselves. And over time, the brain does what it's designed to do. It forms a belief to make sense of the pattern. I'm not really wanted. Once that belief is in place, it begins to act like a filter. It colors everything. How it shows up. People carrying this belief often become hypervigilant in social situations. An unanswered message isn't just an unanswered message, it becomes evidence. They're tired of me. I said something wrong. They're pulling away. Neutral moments get read as personal rejection. Silence feels loaded. Distance feels deliberate. They also become careful, almost preemptively apologetic about their own existence. They shrink themselves. They don't ask for too much. They don't want to inconvenience anyone. They hide the parts of themselves they fear might be too much, because somewhere along the way they learned that showing too much of themselves makes people leave. So they become the quiet ones, the listeners, the givers. They put other people's comfort before their own, not because they're weak, but because they understand deeply what it costs to feel unwanted, and they'd never want to make someone else feel that way. Ironically, these are often some of the most loyal, attentive, and genuinely caring people you'll ever meet. They remember the small things. They show up. They give their time and kindness without keeping score. But beneath all of that generosity lives a quiet dread. What if they eventually realize they don't actually need me? The protective withdrawal. That fear has consequences. To avoid the pain of being left, some people leave first. They pull back emotionally. They stop reaching out. They build a wall and call it indifference. But it isn't indifference. It's self-protection. They care enormously. That's exactly the problem. When you care that much and you've been hurt before, emotional distance starts to feel like the only safe option. What psychology tells us about belonging. Here's what makes this particularly significant. The human brain is not indifferent to belonging. It's wired for it. Feeling seen, accepted, and valued by others isn't a luxury. It's one of our most fundamental emotional needs. When that need goes chronically unmet, it affects more than mood. It erodes self-worth, distorts self-perception, and quietly reshapes how a person believes they fit or don't fit into the world around them. The truth worth holding on to. But here is the part that matters most, and the part that's easiest to miss when you're inside the feeling. Feeling unwanted does not mean you are unwanted. The mind is a powerful narrator, but it isn't always an accurate one. When the brain has been shaped by repeated experiences of rejection, it starts anticipating rejection even where none exists. It's trying to protect you from old pain, but in doing so, it sometimes manufactures threats that aren't real. There are people who value your presence, people who notice when you're not around, people who feel something settle in them when you walk into the room, a comfort, a warmth, even if they've never said so out loud. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and believing that is a mind still running on old programming. Your worth is not measured by how loudly or how often people express your appreciation for you. You are not less valuable because someone failed to show it. You deserve spaces and relationships where you feel genuinely welcomed, not because you've made yourself useful or small enough to tolerate, but simply because you are there. If this resonated with you, you're not carrying this alone. More people than you'd ever guess are walking through life with this same quiet weight. Subscribe for more explorations of the psychology behind the emotions that are hardest to name and hardest to explain.